Welcome back, Thursday viewers. It is another Thursday. It is another bonus content video. Yay! Last week I talked about the hilarious film Radioland Murders, written by George Lucas, a prequel to American Graffiti. Great film. This week, however, I am talking about Transylvania 5,000 to Transylvania 65000. The comedy Transylvania 5,000, starring Jeff Goldblum, Joseph Bologna, Ed Begley Jr., Carol Kane, Jeffrey Jones, John Breyer, Gina Davis, and Michael Richards. Some of those names you might even have recognized. This movie holds a very interesting distinction for my overall collection, especially now that I buy laser discs to display. It is the only movie. It's one of only two movies. There are two movies that hold this distinction that I've owned on the beta format, the VHS format, the Laserdisc format, the DVD format, and the Blu-ray format. This is one of only two movies I have owned across all those formats. The other one is Trading Places. I've also owned that on all of those formats. In fact, I have the beta copy of it is somewhere behind me on shelving that's back there. But anyways, it holds that very interesting distinction that I have watched this movie on every format except I haven't watched the Laserdisc because I don't own a Laserdisc player. If I did own a Laserdisc player, I might watch it on Laserdisc just to say I did. But Transylvania 5,000, it's a movie I've watched since I was a kid and loved every time I've watched it. The general idea of this movie is Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr. are a pair of reporters who are sent to Transylvania to get the scoop on one story. And that story is based on a videotape that is sent to their newspaper. The videotape is a pair of kids at an old castle when what appears to be Frankenstein attacks them. So their job is to go to Transylvania and get the story on Frankenstein Lives. That's the headline their editor wants. Frankenstein Lives! That's the headline they want. So they go to Transylvania, and immediately Ed Begley Jr. makes an ass out of both of them by asking the direct question of, where's Frankenstein? He asks this to the mayor of the town, played by Jeffrey Jones. Great performance there. Who then begins to taunt them, asking, are you asking about Dracula, or the Blob, or the Wolfman, or basically every other fictional monster out there. They go to their hotel room, which happens to be an old converted castle into a bed and breakfast owned by the mayor, who is using them as guinea pigs for his test run, where the servants are a pair of hunchbacks, one of which is Carol Kane. He also has Michael Richards, who's just playing a weird freak in this movie, so he's playing Michael Richards as his servants. They begin to investigate what's going on. And as they dig deeper, they see that the police are trying to halt their progress into the investigation because they don't want them to find out the truth. And the truth is that Frankenstein doesn't live, but there happens to be a doctor who used to perform procedures on people to try to help them, who has been sent to a psychiatric facility. But they believe that what they're calling Frankenstein might have been one of his patients. You get to meet this doctor who was just trying to help people, but they thought his experiments were grotesque, so that's why they locked up his files and sent him away. He eventually leaves the institution, because I guess he can, and he goes back to the castle, which was his castle. It has his laboratory on it. The hunchback servants were actually his servants. They call him Master. And one of my favorite things about this movie, and a lot of people think it's stupid, but I found it hilarious since I was a kid, was our mad scientist is only a mad scientist inside of his lab. Once he walks through the door, literally through the archway that separates his lab from everything else, he becomes normal again. And the actor does this greatly by just simply running his hand through his hair. So he'll be like looking all normal and nice, and he'll be perfectly fine, and then he'll walk through the door, and then he'll be a mad scientist, and then he'll walk out the door, and he'll smooth his hair back, and he'll be like this nice friendly guy again. He'll walk through his hair. I love that. I love that bit. I think it's hilarious. I always have. Anyways, you find out that he's still doing his experiments, that The Frankenstein is a car crash victim who he's reconstructed to help him be able to be mobile again because he was paralyzed from a car crash. You find out that he's helping somebody who suffers from huge growths of hair all over his body, so he looks like the Wolfman. He's trying to assist a woman who he had to wrap up like a mummy. There's another woman played by Gina Davis who he did plastic surgery on, but she believes she's a vampire. And she falls for Ed Begley Jr. in this movie, which is really weird because she was dating Jeff Goldblum at this time. Anyways, in the end, our reporters find out and bring it to the attention of the town that it is the mayor and the police chief who is, in fact, hiding all these things, and that what they're looking at aren't monsters. They're their friends who he is actively trying to assist. And they end up giving the editor exactly what he wanted, a bunch of stories based on all of these people that he can print and write random facts about. So that is Transylvania 65000. I love this movie. I've loved this movie since I was a kid. I was super excited when I could get it on Blu-ray just because the company that made it, I have a bunch of movies they've upgraded, and they always look fabulous. They always do such a good job with the transfer. So it looks great. It looks beautiful. It is a great movie. If you can get your hands on a copy of it, definitely check it out. It is a fun movie. Alright, next week on the main channel, on the main episode, I'll be talking about the Alien franchise. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then here I'll be actually talking about another movie featuring an actor from this one. I'll be talking about another movie that features Michael Richards. So, that should be a lot of fun as well. Alright, I'll see you next time. Have a good one.